worldwide on SWX Montana Television.
I like football!
Now here's your host, Colter Nuanez.
What's up, Montana? Welcome in. Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio. Also streaming live on SWX Montana Television and the ESPN MT app. Colter Nuanez back in studio. Thanks for letting me have a day off. Made about, 125 feet worth of putts on Friday, and we took home the gold. Pretty fun day. Nobody wants to hear you brag about your golf game, but it was a really fun afternoon at the Grizzly Quarterback Club Scramble. So I'll fill you in, not on how and why we won, but all the different things we learned. I mean, got to hang out with all the Grizz football coaches all day long on Friday. I had some good buddies, including some former Grizz players in town as well. So it's been a lot of Grizz action the last couple of days. Last Thursday, last time we were on the air, we were live from the Mo Club as part of the Grizzly Football Players Association. Roll right into that Quarterback Club Scramble. So I had the day off on Friday, but now we're back at it here on Monday. So plenty to get to. It is a Shrine Game Monday because it was a Shrine Game Saturday over the weekend. And I think going in, if you were looking at the rosters and all the various Division I talent that's in the state of Montana, you would have said maybe the East was the favorites. Not so fast. The West continues to dominate in the East-West Shrine Game. 6 in a row for the West now. After a brilliant defensive effort, they won 20-6. And a whole bunch of defensive standouts, not just from the state of Montana, but from the city of Missoula, including the young man who will help us lead the show, Rudy Hess from Missoula Sentinel, will join us here in just a quick minute. We're also going to hear from Vince Paffhausen from Missoula Hellgate. He was the quarterback, or one of the quarterbacks for the West, threw a sweet touchdown pass right before halftime to give the West a little breathing room. And then on Wednesday, we're going to hear from the offensive MVP of the game, Asher Kanapik, who is a great linebacker but played running back in this game. He was a great two-way player at Kalispell Glacier. Probably going to play linebacker in college, but he had a great outing as a running back, rushed for about 100 yards, and he was a key culprit in earning offensive MVP in this game as well. We're also going to hear from DJ Bauer here today. He's from SWX Montana Television, and he was on the scene at the East-West Shrine Game as well. So plenty of Shrine Game talk. Intermittently, we'll also talk some baseball. We'll also talk some U.S. Open, and we'll also talk some in-state recruiting. Brooks Nuanez will swing by to talk all things Wyndham Clark, winning at Shinnecock Hills his second U.S. Open title. And we're also going to go over the most recent baseball standings as we roll almost into July. And Montana State swings back hard in the in-state recruiting battle. The Grizz had a avalanche of recruits in March, April, and May. The Cats have gotten a couple big ones lately, including Cannon Richmond, who is one of the top players in the state of Montana. He is a senior to be at Three Forks High School. So this is it's been a fun in-state recruiting battle so far as Montana State go back and forth. So that's what's coming up. You want to stream it? You always can. 1029 ESPN.com. You can also find us on the ESPN MT app as well as on Facebook and on YouTube. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. And as always, we're coming to you through the Grizzly Disposal studio here at the Missoula Broadcasting Company. Grizzly Disposal, locally owned, veteran-owned, the only Bears that should be in your garbage. Rudy Hess in studio with us, recent graduate of Missoula Sentinel. He's on his way to Montana Western to play some college football next year. But what a day for you on Saturday, man. How's it going? Thanks for coming down here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
First of all, tell me about just being in this defensive slugfest, because you guys hardly gave up anything as a West defense. So how'd you guys come together as a defense throughout the week? It's hard to put together a game plan and learn how to play with a bunch of guys that you never played with. So what was that process like, sort of coming together during the week, and how were you guys able to play so well defensively?
It was just a grind throughout the week. Having those 3 days, just a super fun time, and learning a whole new defense to all of us is pretty hard to get down the first few days, but after those first few days, it was just coming together and click for everybody. So our defense just really came together, and that was what we knew was going to come on Saturday, so it was just all of us together.
Well, you were the MVP of the game. Congratulations on that. You had a pick six with about 3 minutes to go. That was sort of like the last nail in the coffin. One of 2 picks for you. So take us through the pick six, though. What did you see? How were you able to take it to the house?
Our coach told us right before that, he was like, yeah, just go get one, seal this thing down. And they kept running the same few plays over, and once I saw they just tried to do a little fake screen action, I just knew I had to go get the ball, and I was just reading the QB's eyes and went and got it.
Well, a fun moment for you and a fun moment for everybody out in the West. When it came to the defensive staff, I know Seth Mason was working with some of the guys, Frenchtown head coach, and some other great coaches as well. You've had some great coaches at Missoula Sentinel, too, and you guys played a very defensive style last year. We'll get to that here in just a minute, but was it a learning process for you to learn from different coaches than the ones you've had for these last 4 years?
It definitely was. I mean, going back to Sentinel, we were a very heavily defensive-focused team, and, just bringing it over to new coaches and them kind of thinking the same way, kind of all just clicked for everybody, and especially me. And it wasn't too hard to learn, but it's still a challenge, and we got it done.
Rudy Hess in studio with us talking all things Shrine Game. This is our Senior Spotlight. It's probably presented in part by McElmurray Homes. McElmurray Homes, the premier custom home builders in western Montana, and also proud to support high school athletics across the state of Montana. So you mentioned it, but Sentinel has had a variety of different styles over all the years that Dane Oliver's been the head coach there. I think that's a mark of a good coach, especially at the high school level, because you kind of have what you got at your disposal in terms of the athletes, so you got to build it around it. But you guys really leaned into holding people down last year. I mean, was there even a touchdown in Crosstown? I mean, you guys versus Big Sky last year was an ultimate slugfest. His field goals, and that was about it. But what do you think helped you play that style? What was it about your team's mentality and your team personnel that made it so that you guys were probably more defensive than maybe any team Coach O has had?
I think it was just that, maybe we had some younger kids come up on offense, and it was still kind of a learning process for most of them. But I forget how many seniors we had graduated, but it was quite a few, and most of them were on defense. So it was just kind of, with us all playing together for those years, and we just kind of already had it down, it was just another thing, and we just could all click together on defense, so that's what made it a lot better.
Yeah, and you were a two-way guy last year, so how did you sort of balance it all?
It was pretty hard. I would get a few drives off, but just going from offense to defense, just learning everything. It was kind of demanding of me ever since my freshman year, just playing quarterback, just having to know everything, and just once I learned that, then it was pretty easy for me.
Are they thinking about you on defense at Western?
They are. They're recruiting me for safety.
So do you think that helps you? Because you've been a quarterback, and that's probably been your main thing your whole life. Does that help you play defense?
It definitely does, because I know where the quarterbacks wants to go, and I know how offenses run, and all that just comes together for me, so then I can go on to defense and I can just see it.
There's been a lot of great high school quarterbacks in the state of Montana that turned into great college safeties at various different levels, no doubt. Any fun memories from the week? Because this is, like you said, it's a grind. It's triple 3 times a day practices, trying to get it all in the span of just a week. But you guys do get a chance to share some meals, and you get to hear from some of the people from the Shriners Hospital. So anything from the off-the-field part of this that you'll remember?
It was definitely meeting the kids, seeing how cool it was, just where all the money goes and what we're doing it for. Just meeting those kids was just super special to me and the rest of my teammates, and I'll forever remember that.
Well, a cool Missoula flavor too, right? Because you guys had a little bit of depth on defense, but the primary unit was not just you, but Blake Williams had a great game as well from Missoula Big Sky. Cormac Batt played a bunch as a safety out of Big Sky as well. Evan Pyron was holding down the front. I thought he played great at defensive end out of Missoula Hellgate. And then on the offensive side, Vince Pathfausen will join us here about 5:30 to talk about his awesome touchdown pass and some of the other stuff that went on throughout his senior year as well. So kind of fun that Missoula was represented. So
Oh yeah, super fun.
What did you think of playing with some of the small town guys? Was that
it was super cool. Seeing how they play their football compared to 11-man football is just super different from them. But I thought they adapted super well, and it was just super fun to play with them.
Yeah, the announcers on TV were talking about that. The kid from Sealy Swan had a sweet open field tackle, and one of the color commentators was like, "Well, that's because he plays 8-man. Like all you do in 8-man is tackle in the open field, right?" So he's well practiced for sure. One of the cool things was the sticker exchange. Was there any stickers that you didn't know what the logo was, or that you're going to treasure moving forward here?
Oh yeah, definitely. I got a Butte Central sticker from Ryan.
That's
Peoples,
a good one.
And I had no clue what they had or anything, and I just saw a bunch of stickers that I didn't know, and I just got to learn throughout the week what they were, and just trading them back and forth is super cool.
Yeah, well, that's a great memory for you. Rudy Hess, Missoula Sentinel, joining us here on Nuanez Now. This is our Senior Spotlight, presented in part by Dazzler's Car Wash of Missoula. Treat your car like it deserves to be treated at Dazzler's Car Wash. So how about sort of this next chapter then? Probably a short summer for you. Probably head down to Dillon here pretty soon. So just tell us about sort of that opportunity. What did you like about the opportunity at Montana Western?
Montana Western, they were just super welcoming, and at Missoula Sentinel, they kind of have the same thing going. It's just hard work and grit and get it done, and that's what I really like about Montana Western is it just get stuff done and just straight ball.
Well, and it's a program that's been very good the last couple of years as well, and they've sort of risen to be. The Frontier, in my opinion, is one of the most competitive leagues in the entire country at the NAIA level. But Western's been in the mix, been right there as conference champion, co-conference champion. So was that an influence? Just how good they've been over the last couple of years?
It definitely was. Their defense really stood out to me, and not allowing a lot of points over the years. They've just been super good, and that was definitely an interest for me.
Well, very cool. Do you know what you want to go to school for?
I'm going for environmental science.
Oh, very good. That's a good program there for sure. Do they still do just the one class at a time?
They do. The block schedule, it's super nice.
Yeah, so for those that haven't heard about this is a great idea. And I'm actually surprised more colleges don't do it. So you basically just take one class at a time for what, like 3 weeks?
Yep, 3 weeks.
Yeah, 3 weeks, and then it's done. You take the test, and you move on to your next class. So that probably goes hand in hand with what you just said, though, right? Sort of like the workman-like mentality, be able to just concentrate on ball.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Go to one class, off for the rest of the day. Focus on practice, focus on football. Just help you lock in and get better.
What do you think about Dillon?
I love it.
Yeah, Dillon's a great town, man.
I'm big into the outdoors, big into fishing, so it just felt just like home for me.
Well, if you like fishing and hunting, then living in Dillon, Montana is about as good as you can do. So pretty darn cool. So what do you think just about the way that your high school experience came to a close on Saturday? I mean, that's kind of like your last high school game and your first college game sort of all wrapped up into one.
Yeah, it was great. Just having the experience going from my freshman year to now this. Just been such a ride, and I'm so grateful for it. Well,
very cool, and it's been fun to watch you, fun to follow along, and a great job by you going out on top with an MVP. What are your hopes for next fall? Or what's sort of your mentality as you make the transition to the college level?
Just going in and working, busting my butt throughout fall camp, and showing to them what else I can do, and I'm just super excited for it.
Well, very cool, and we'll be wishing you the best of luck. Following along for sure, but thanks for swinging down, man. Thanks for battling that Reserve Street traffic.
Oh, yeah, thanks for having me.
Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio. Take an early break, come back, talk all things U.S. Open. Brooks Nuanez swung by earlier. Where did Wyndham Clark position himself in the scope of his contemporaries? We'll talk about that, plus the win at Shinnecock Hills. Next, don't change that dial. Keep it right here, 102.9 ESPN Radio.
Around here, we see a lot of people head out. No matter where they're going, we just make sure they're ready. Before you hit the road, get a pre-trip safety check at Les Schwab Tires. It's free. Plus, this May, save up to $200 on select sets of 4 tires.
If we can't guarantee it, we won't sell it.
At Shields, we're anglers, endlessly seeking and refining techniques. We're hunters and storytellers because we've been out there. We're experts that put products and gear to the test so we can share that knowledge with you. At Shields, we understand your outdoor journey and the path you're on because we walk it too, every step of the way. Shields, right there with you.
Mountain Town Vacation Rental Management, your local partner for vacation rental success. We provide a fully customized hosting experience tailored to your needs and goals. Your home is listed on every major site, helping you maximize visibility and bookings. And our local team is available 24/7 to handle guest needs and booking inquiries. Let us take the stress out of managing your vacation home. Contact us today at mountaintownvrm.com or give us a call at 406-369-3080.
The rare moments in life, they're not just few and far between.
They're meant to be treasured.
Bring the whole family to the Stone of Accord for a wonderful brunch. From traditional comfort food to eclectic specials, there's something for everyone to enjoy. And it wouldn't be a proper Missoula brunch without an Irish coffee and a mimosa. The Stone of Accord, Irish fare with Montana flair. Restaurant, liquor store, and casino. At the Stone of Accord, we use the freshest ingredients to create our homemade traditional Irish classics, fresh salads, and creative specials. Come enjoy our warm, family-friendly atmosphere. The Stone of Accord, Irish fare with Montana flair. Restaurant, liquor store, and casino.
ESPN Missoula Sports Center.
Rudy Hess provided the exclamation point in the West remain best for the 6th year in a row. Hello, I am Hayden Smith. At the 79th annual East-West Shrine football game in Butte on Saturday, Hess snagged an interception and returned it 48 yards for a game-sealing touchdown with 3 minutes, 19 seconds left to lift the West All-Stars to its 6th straight win in the series. The Missoula Sentinel graduates' pick 6 helped show up a 20-6 victory in the mining city and helped Hess earn MVP honors. While Hess punctuated the West defensive authority, it was a true team effort with plenty of Missoula flavor. The West All-Stars held the East scoreless in the first half, forcing 3 total turnovers and holding the East to just 163 yards of offense. Other defensive standouts for the West All-Stars included Missoula's Big Sky defensive back Blake Williams and Cormac Batt, along with Missoula Hellgate's defensive lineman Evan Pyron. Neither team scored until Big Sky's Kyle Marceau hit a 26-yard field goal late in the first half. Early in the third quarter, Big Sky Williams recovered a fumble that led to a 13-yard touchdown pass from Missoula Hellgate's Vince Paffhausen to Darby's McCoy Townsend to give the West a 10-0 advantage. Later, Paffhausen converted a key 4th and short play to keep a drive alive, setting up an impressive 48-yard field goal by Marceau in a 13-6 lead. Williams was named the West's defensive MVP, and the West's offensive MVP went to Glacier's Asher Knopik, who rushed 22 times for 99 yards.
This ESPN Missoula Sports Center is presented by Canyon River Golf Club. This is Nuanez Now on 102.9 ESPN Radio Missoula.
Welcome back. Nuanez Now, 129 ESPN Radio. Appreciate you for hanging out with us here on this Monday. I'm Colter Nuanez coming to you through the Grizzly Disposal Studio. Grizzly Disposal has construction roll-off boxes for your construction project. They can get them to you within 24 hours. No wait days or even weeks. Grizzly Disposal has construction roll-off boxes in stock, and they can get them to you fast. Visit grizzlydisposal.com or call 406-541-7171. Grizzly Disposal, the only bears that should be in your garbage. We'll take a break from our Shrine Game conversations. The East-West Shrine Game, 79th annual East-West Shrine Game, was over the weekend in Butte, the mining city. And we have a couple more guests coming in to join us here, not just today, but this whole week. Which, by the way, tomorrow, please, if you can, come hang out with me at Jewelry Design Center. I'll be down there from 4 to 6. It's right across the street from the Montana Club on Brooks, 2501 Brooks to be specific. I'm doing a dual broadcast, broadcasting Nuanez Now, right here on ESPN Radio, and broadcasting on the U1045 as well. This is part of the Biggest ticket giveaway of the summer. Post Malone and Jelly Roll coming to Missoula. And we got tickets for you. All you got to do is come down, hang out, and put your name in a box. If you want to hang out for the whole Nuanez Now, great. They'll have some drinks and refreshments down there at Jewelry Design Center. If you just want to get in and get out, that's also fine. You do not have to be present to win. But we do want to get as many people through the door as possible because these tickets are very valuable, and it is certainly the hottest ticket of the summer. So you want to win some? You got to come hang out, at 2501 Brook Street, right across from the Montana Club. Jewelry Design Center, happy to help us give away our Post Malone and Jelly Roll ticks. Hour number 2, DJ Bauer from SWX Montana will join us to talk all things Shrine Game, as will Vince Papphausen, a recent graduate of Missoula Hellgate, who threw a nice touchdown pass as part of limited scoring in the East-West Shrine Game. That's basically the duration of your second hour. But first, here's our best of the weekend, what went down at Shinnecock Hills. I've been completely dwelling on this ever since we came back from the E.B. Craney Awards because I asked you if you knew about Gorgeous George, and you only sort of did, but like not hardly at all. This is the book I read. But then I was thinking about like how Gorgeous George, like at one point in time, was the most famous person in America, or at least one of, and very few people now remember him because it's been, since the mid-1950s that his fame sort of faded. So Brooks Nuanez joining us here in studio. I did this thought experiment. You probably remember this. I read through this entire book. This book is
Of course I remember.
Copyright 1953. It's called The 100 Greatest Sports Heroes, and the exercise is basically just about how some legends are still as vibrant as ever, like Jesse Owens, for example. Like most people could tell you something about Jesse Owens, and then others are completely like anonymous, like Eddie Acaro, the greatest jockey of his time in the 1920s. But like if I would have known about him unless it was for this book. Then there's the people in the middle. So here's your one for today. Roy Campanella. What can you tell me about Roy Campanella?
Big leaguer.
Big leaguer, yeah.
Played probably catcher and maybe a little first base.
Yep, you got it.
I would say he played for a Dodgers team.
You did. Good job.
The Brooklyn
Dodgers, yep.
That's probably about as much as I got.
Yeah, he was the catcher during like the Jackie Robinson era before the Dodgers came west in the late 50s, but in the 40s and early 50s before they came to L.A., the Brooklyn Dodgers were infamous for being like the Buffalo Bills of their era. There's always next year was their line because they lost in the World Series over and over again to Joe DiMaggio and Mickey Mantle's Yankees. But Roy Campanella was basically the first power hitting catcher. He had 41 home runs in a single season to set a single season home run record. He also finished his career with 242 home runs, which at that time was like an unfathomable number.
It's a lot of bombs.
It is a lot of bombs still, but certainly back then for a catcher that was pretty much uncanny. So he retired in 1958. He was the victim of an automobile accident which left him with a broken neck and partially paralyzed. But in the annals of the game, Roy Campanella engraved his name and fame as more than just a baseball player. He's the first black catcher in Major League history and widely considered the greatest catcher in baseball history upon the time of his injury. So there you go.
Roy Campanella is 12th all-time in home runs by a catcher.
Still, 242.
And who's first?
Johnny Bench.
Johnny Bench is second.
Johnny Bench is second to Ivan Rodriguez.
Ivan Rodriguez is in the top 7. I think he is 7th.
Ah, man. The all-time leading home run.
This is easier.
Mike Piazza.
Mike Piazza.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
399 home runs.
Yeah, Piazza was something else. Pretty interesting to remember back on. That was a crazy streak that the Dodgers had. I mean, Rookie of the Year, I think 4 years in a row. Todd Hollandsworth was in there. Mike Piazza was in there. I think your probably second favorite player of all time was in there. Raul Mondesi.
I love Raul Mondesi.
When we were kids, Brooks had quite the obsession with right fielders with gigantic arms, guys that could throw it, from the right field corner to third base.
Oh, it's my favorite thing in the world.
Vladimir Guerrero and Raul Mondesi, those two guys were right there for sure. All right, I didn't drag him in here to talk baseball, though. It is fun talking baseball. We'll have some more baseball coming up here on the show. But U.S. Open was this weekend. Great Father's Day weekend tradition. We remember watching the U.S. Open always on Sundays with our dads, so hopefully you had a great Father's Day. and hopefully you got a chance to watch a little bit of golf. So this came, we were golfing on Saturday, Brooks, and we were talking about how there might be not much drama on Sunday coming into the U.S. Open because Wyndham Clark had been lights out on Thursday and Friday and then played solid on Saturday to take a 6-stroke lead into Sunday. And that was, I think the statistic was there had never been somebody that had a 6-stroke lead going into Sunday in a major that had then relinquished that lead.
One time. I can't remember who it was.
Yeah.
One time.
Oh, you're right. One time. Greg Norman, 1996 Masters. Yep. Nick Faldo came storming back and overcame it. And that was one of the most iconic and sad meltdowns ever. But you're right. It only happened once. So Clark comes in, and Sam Burns birdies 3 out of the first 5, and Clark bogeys 3 out of the first 5, and the lead goes from 6-1 real quick. And all of a sudden, the U.S. Open got really interesting. And then the next 3 hours, I thought it was great. So I guess start here. What did you think of the way that Wyndham Clark first looked like he was melting, and then somehow figured out a way to rally all the way back, hold off the entire field, and win his second U.S. Open?
Well, I thought that the way he started was inevitable. I thought that the amount of pressure that you're going to face as a 54-hole leader going into Sunday is immense.
Well, then they put Perry with Scotty Scheffler.
Perry with Scotty.
So that's already going to be this. You haven't teed off yet, so you see Sam. I mean, Sam Burns was several groups behind Wyndham Clark, so he sees this on the scoreboard before he's even hit a shot yet.
And the hard part with the kind of lead that you have is, I don't know. I'm not a professional golfer, right? Far from it. But I do think that maybe having a 1-stroke lead puts you in a completely different mindset of how you have to play. I think that Wyndham and his team went into that round saying, we have to shoot 2 over to win.
Right.
So then you kind of start to play a little conservative just because that is the smart thing to do. You don't need to be going out firing after pins and getting bogeys. I would say that if I'm on his team, the first 6 holes, we can expect to be 1 or 2 over.
Yeah.
I think it's almost just inevitable. What you don't want to see is Sam Burns charging, and you look up at the leaderboard and you say all of a sudden now it's 1. You hope that when you're 2 over, it's still 4.
He made the long par putt on 1 and then missed a very similar putt on 2 and then got a tap-in bogey. But you're right. As soon as when you're needing, he made so many, 12 to 18 foot pars on Saturday and Sunday. Wyndham Clark did, but then when those start missing and you're giving strokes back, that's when you start to really get nervous. That's when the nerves really come into play. Nuanez Now 129 ESPN Radio. Brooks Nuanez joining me, Colter Nuanez in studio. It is fascinating, just the mentality of a golfer too, right? Like the last time this tournament was at Shinnecock Hills, Tommy Fleetwood went into day 4. He went into the final Sunday, 9 over, and shot a course record 63 to finish 1 over and 1 shot off of the lead. And the leader was Brooks Koepka, who shot even par and held off Tommy Fleetwood and the rest of the field. But like you're saying, he was 8 over, and he went in with the mindset, I'm going to shoot as low as I can, where it's a totally different thing when you're 6 under when everybody else is at even par. You're not trying to shoot a 70. You're not trying to shoot a 63. You're trying to shoot a 73 and figure out a way to get home.
100%. And I thought that was the right game plan. I did not think that he was overly shook by his front 9. I thought that he held it together as far as his demeanor went.
Sure.
He looked not overly nervous. I mean, I thought that he was well aware of how things were going for him, which was not necessarily positive. But I don't think that he was sitting there freaking out because then he had a stretch. I texted you about this from hole 8 through 11. Where Scotty started firing at pins and he was putting balls 15, 18 feet, and Wyndham would go second and put it inside of him every single time. Yep. On the same line, get a read from Scotty for 4 straight holes. He was dueling the world number 1 after that first 7-hole performance, which was a pretty abysmal performance. I thought that was the proof of this guy's not scared of this moment. Of course he's really nervous, right? I mean, that's life. I think
he's a human.
I think even someone like Scotty Scheffler would be a little nervous going into a major championship Sunday final grouping. Of course you have some nerves, but I thought that Wyndham was pretty lights out when it came to dealing with that and being able to at least get through the round. Of course, by the time he gets to 17, things start to really get shaky because how couldn't they? It's a lot of pressure at this moment.
And the course was playing unbelievably hard. there's only been a few people I can really remember in the history of golf that has elicited as villainous of a reaction, a venomous as a reaction from the crowd as Wyndham Clark did. If you were watching yesterday with the sound on and you had it turned up loud enough to hear the gallery, the first 9, I guess probably like the first 7 or 8 holes, you could hear people yelling everything from "I hope that goes in the water" to "get in the sand, Wyndham," to "Wyndham, you suck," to a whole bunch of other stuff we can't say on the radio. But these guys actually got kicked out, right? So,
5 patrons.
So there was people that were there to explicitly harass Wyndham Clark. But it's interesting because there's been very few people that have sort of elicited that from the gallery. So I think that also adds to sort of just how difficult Wyndham Clark's win was. The pressure of being so far ahead, the fact that the conditions were, top-notch USGA hard with the way that they designed the course, but also then you add in the wind, you add in the fact that you're playing with the number 1 player in the world, and you add in a crowd that's completely against you. It's pretty good mettle from Wyndham Clark to win this.
And then you have people like Sam Burns who are making a charge.
Right.
And I just thought that everything you just laid out, Coulter, is a recipe for disaster. I mean, getting Scotty Scheffler on Father's Day, on his birthday,
on his 30th birthday,
with the crowd like it was. I mean, Scotty said as much afterwards in his press conference, but I couldn't agree more. You can yell, "Get in the bunker, Wyndham," but you don't. The spirit of golf does not allow someone to start cheering when your ball rolls off the green in an approach shot. Like, that's not the spirit of the game.
Sure.
I mean, golf is way too hard to root for someone's demise. You can talk smack to them mentally,
sure,
but like just the physical nature of the shots that are being played, it's just, there's not really a lot of room for it.
Well, it's time and place too, right? I mean, if you really want to catcall and talk smack to guys, go to the Waste Management Open in Phoenix in February.
No doubt.
Like, it's the U.S. Open, man. Like, I'm not trying to be all high and mighty here, but there is a time and place for everything, and like there is an etiquette to the game that needs to be upheld because that's what makes golf great.
He stood in there and he owned it. Afterwards, he talked about it beforehand. He talked about, hey, people don't like me right now, and I'm still trying to build my reputation back from his, I guess you could call fall from grace. He destroyed the locker room at Oakmont, never really apologized, got banned for life. He came out and apologized too late and kind of had egg on his face.
Yeah.
And then played fairly well that season, but then did not get invited to the Ryder Cup because of it, and then made some big public statements about not being included on the Ryder Cup, which I think really turned people off as well. And he's been battling this reputation thing, and he wasn't shy about it. He's like, hey, man, New York doesn't like me. Hopefully I can earn some of your respect at some point, which I think, at least from me as someone who's not the biggest Wyndham Clark fan before or after any of the controversy, wins like this kind of show someone's mettle, and they allow them, at least for me as a fan, to say, hey, man, I can support this guy when he's making a run. I'm not scared to watch this guy go win one. Not necessarily he's going to be my favorite golfer, but he earned a lot of respect, at least from my eyes, after this amazing performance.
Well, and now he's part of an elite group. Not only guys that have 2 majors, but guys that have 2 U.S. Opens. And we were explaining this to your older son yesterday while we were hiking, because he was asking, isn't the Masters the hardest tournament? We were saying, well, in some ways it's the most pressure to win,
no doubt,
because it's the most prestigious tournament. It's like the most beautiful and iconic tournament. It's the one that everybody knows about, and it's always right on the heels of the NCAA tournament, so people are just accustomed to doing pools about it.
It's one of the first tournaments of the year.
Yeah, and everybody gambles on it, or people have just filled out an NCAA tournament bracket, so it's easy to fill out an office pool too. You got another $10, okay, you can play. And the scenes and the fact that it's at the same course and it's sort of this ushering in of spring and the azaleas that you already know about, all the pageantry and the romance around Augusta National and the Masters for sure. But the U.S. Open is the hardest tournament to win, and depending on where the British Open is, the Open Championship, those are the 2 that are the hardest to win.
The course setup at the Open, the British Open, will never be. It is so hard, but it's all about the conditions.
It's the conditions.
It's the weather.
Right. The British Open is the lake-style golf, and the U.S. Open, the USGA. That I don't know if people understand this. The PGA Championship is the PGA's championship. It is the crown jewel of what the PGA orchestrates as a tournament. The U.S. Open is orchestrated by the USGA, the United States Golf Association. So it's different governing bodies, and the USGA has proclaimed for years that they want the winner of the United States Open to shoot exactly even par. They think that is the score that they want to win the U.S. Open.
Yep, and the course setup will always be the hardest for that exact thing. With the British Open, the conditions will be crazy. The course will be very challenging, but they don't necessarily manipulate it in the sense that the U.S. Open does. And man, does the U.S. Open make it hard, and there was nothing about Shinnecock that was not extremely difficult. I mean, everything from, they say that you can't put a pin on more than a 3 degrees of slope anywhere on the green. And there was like on number 11 where the pin was within 4 feet of itself all 4 days because the entire green is that sloped. You legally couldn't put the pin outside of a 4-foot radius because of how hard the green is to manipulate and actually deal with. So the U.S. Open will always be the hardest setup, and that was definitely the case this week.
I mean, he joins an elite group of multiple-time U.S. Open champions. I'm looking at the multiple champs. I mean, it includes less than 24 guys.
It's
basically.
9, yeah.
9 guys overall, ever. Wow. Yeah, because you're right. I'm looking at a lot of these guys that are on this long list on Wikipedia, and a lot of them are from the olden days, the 1800s. But yeah, in the 20th through 21st century, 9 guys that have won it multiple times. So last question for you. Brooks Nuanez here on Nuanez Now. This part of the conversation probably presented in part by Canyon River Golf Club. We played out at Canyon River on Saturday. Beautiful conditions as always. The course is running as smooth as ever, and it is the premier golf course in Montana. Check out canyonrivergolfclub.com for tee times and to go enjoy the most pristine public course in the Treasure State. Where does this put Wyndham Clark now amongst his peers?
Well, he's young enough that he's got a lot of runway left to build
32, right?
Yeah, to build a legacy. So he's just probably entering his prime now. This puts Wyndham Clark in the top 10 of his generation, which I would say is like a 5-year window. And the guys that are between 27 and 35, he's probably in the top 10, maybe top 15.
Well, and he has an opportunity right now to sort of solidify himself for sure in the top 10, maybe even the top 5, because so many of the guys that have been sort of the guys of the moment, the guys of their time, have faded a little bit. Like, I don't know if Brooks Koepka is going to come back around and win another one. I'm pretty certain Dustin Johnson's not going to. Like, is Justin Thomas ever going to step back up and be a major champion again? I'm not sure. I'm not saying no, but Jason Day is a multiple-time major championship award winner, and I don't know if he has any left in him either. So there's plenty of guys now that maybe are a little bit older than Wyndham Clark that might be sort of stepping out of that time when you can win them.
No doubt. I mean, the thing is, like, Cam Young is entering a pretty interesting part of his prime.
For sure.
But guys like, Scotty, Xander Schauffele, Colin Morikawa, those guys are all of Wyndham's generation, of his era, and those guys are all better than him. So, I'd say he's probably approaching somewhere in the top 10. I don't know how many guys on tour right now have multiple majors. I mean, it's probably less than 25 guys, 20 guys. So you got to say that puts him up there somewhere in striking distance with being, a real deal, memorable, kind of historic golfer.
Yeah, 16 active golfers have multiple majors.
I mean, that puts you in the top 20.
That includes Tiger Woods, which I think we could both agree is he's done winning majors. That includes Padraig Harrington. I think we could agree he's done winning majors.
Yep.
Includes Phil Mickelson, Dustin Johnson, Justin Thomas. I think all those guys are probably looking in the rear view. Maybe JT's got one more in him.
JT's older than Wyndham Clark, though. He's older than 32.
He is, for sure. Zach Johnson and Martin Keimer are probably the other two that are probably not going to win more majors. Guys that still probably could win more majors, or maybe could: Rory McIlroy, Brooks Koepka, Scotty Scheffler. Jordan Spieth, you want to say, because he's still young enough, but it's been a minute for Spieth. John Rahm, certainly. Colin Morikawa, certainly. Bryson DeChambeau, probably. Xander Schauffele, certainly. And Wyndham Clark. So
how about this? I'll give you just a couple. Matt Fitzpatrick. Who's better, him or Wyndham?
Wyndham Clark.
Russell Henley.
Wyndham Clark.
Tommy Fleetwood.
Wyndham Clark.
It's better than Tommy Fleetwood.
Tommy Fleetwood's never won a major.
Colin Morikawa.
Wyndham Clark.
Xander Schauffele.
Wyndham Clark.
Wow. Amazing.
I have a blind spot for Schauffele.
Oh, interesting. That's a blind spot because he's really good.
I know he's really good. I think Clark's better, but I've also had more opportunity. For whatever reason, the 2 majors that Schauffele won, I was not that locked in on. Whereas the 2 majors that Clark won, I was super locked in on. So I have like more definitive memories of like Clark in big moments.
Schauffele's a very fun golfer.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I sort of like him just personality-wise and stuff.
Yeah,
so.
He's cool. Can I give you 2 really quick ones?
Yeah, of course.
Here's my 2 favorite stats of the week. Joaquin Niemann.
Yep.
He won. He got tied for 7th on the first day on hole number 6. He had an 11.
11. He would have won if he didn't get the 11, right?
He had 4 penalties.
7 over. on one hole.
7 over. What is it? That's not a quadruple bogey. That's whatever plus 7 is.
Yeah, plus 7.
And then the next one.
And this is not like when you're playing on Sundays and you get an 11 and your friends write down an 8. No, you take all 11 in the U.S. Open.
But like even when you're playing with your friends on Sunday, if they give you a 1 mulligan, like the next time you hit it out of bounds, you got to take the penalty, and then you hit it in the drink 2 more times. Hit it in the drink from 115 and be like, you know what? I'm going to back up to 140 and hit it in the drink again.
Double figures is a task for anybody.
Last one was yesterday. Sam Burns on the charge of a lifetime misses the birdie on 17 would have hide it, and then he misses the birdie on 18 by a millimeter, which would have won him the tournament. Well.
He
made yesterday 128 feet of putts.
Wow. Sounds like me Friday at the Grizz Quarterback Club Scramble.
You gotta envision this though. He had no less than 6 tap-ins.
Yes, right.
128 feet of putts for 18 holes would be averaging 7 feet a putt.
Yes.
We're talking this guy was averaging like 18 feet per make.
Yeah, he had it down. He's knocking on the door. He's another guy that's going to get into that group that we're talking about.
He is going to get into it.
No doubt. Brooks Nuanez here on Nuanez Now 102.9 ESPN Radio. Thanks for swinging by, man.
Absolutely. Yeah, thanks.
Cravings the month.
Life can change in an instant. If you've been hurt in an accident, suffered from medical negligence, or facing criminal charges, you don't have to face it alone. At Ryan Miller & Coburn, we're here to listen and fight for you. We're your neighbors, traveling across Montana to stand by your side as your link to justice. Real people, real help, right here in Montana. Ryan Miller & Coburn, your Montana attorneys.
Around here, we see a lot of people head out. No matter where they're going, we just make sure they're ready. Before you hit the road, get a pre-trip safety check at Les Schwab Tires. It's free. Plus, this May, save up to $200 on select sets of 4 tires.
If we can't guarantee it, we won't sell it.
Life's about the journey, not the destination, right? Why can't it be about both?
Jewelry Design Center. We want to be your jeweler for life.
Welcome back. 1029 ESPN Radio. It's Nuanez Now. Appreciate you for hanging. Hope you're having a great start to your week. You know, like the term senioritis. We always talk about senioritis. It's just an easy way. I hate like dwelling on cliches sometimes, but also like conversationally. You know, when you're interviewing a high school person or somebody that just graduated from high school that maybe you've never met before or only met once or twice. Such an easy question to start getting them warmed up, right? Like, how'd the stretch run of your senior year go? Did you get any senioritis? I feel like at the same time that I have senioritis in the worst way right now, but that I'm also very excited for the week. Because I'm going to the Montana Pro Football Hall of Fame Thursday, so we won't have any shows Thursday, Friday, or next week either. I'm taking my week vacation. So basically, starting on Thursday, I get like 10 days off, which I am immensely excited about. Hoping and praying that the weather is great so that I can play golf, as much as I can. I can hang out with my son as much as I can. I took him to the carousel the other night. Picked him up early. Didn't know if he was going to like it. I was probably leaning towards maybe thought that he wasn't going to like it. Loved it. Like absolutely loved it. We went down to Front Street Pizza, got a slice of pie. Man, this is like the greatest day of his 2.5 years on the earth. He loved it. He's skipping up and down the street thinking it is the greatest day. So anyways, I'm excited to have a little bit of time off and hang out with the fam, no doubt. But I'm also very excited for this week because this is a fun show with a lot of Shrine Game coverage. DJ Bauer, SWX Montana Television, coming up at the top of the hour. He was on the scene, so he can give us some impressions of the Shrine Game. We also got Vinny Paffhausen coming up. He was a multi-sport athlete at Missoula Hellgate and was one of the quarterbacks for the West, threw the only touchdown of the game. There was multiple touchdowns, but the only throwing touchdown of the game. He's Montana Tech bound, but a lot of Missoula flavor in terms of the standouts from the Shrine Game. So that's coming up here today. We also have our Post Malone and Jelly Roll ticket giveaway tomorrow at Jewelry Design Center. All you got to do is come down and hang out with us, 2501 Brook Street in Missoula. I'll be down there broadcasting. I'll be down there probably about 3 o'clock, between 3 and 6. We'll be live from 4 to 6 on ESPN. We'll also be live between, I think, 3-something and 5-something. I'll be on the U intermittently, mostly between 3 and 6 p.m. And all you got to do is come on down. Put your name in a box. We'll draw it, and you can get a chance to win tickets to the biggest show of the summer at Washington Grizzly Stadium. That's coming up. The show is coming up in July, but our remote and our ticket giveaway is coming up tomorrow between 4 and 6 p.m. So please come see us. And then Wednesday, we'll have Samuel Kim back sitting shotgun. Also, Asher Kanopik, who was the MVP at the Shrine Game on the offensive side of the ball. He'll be joining us. Kalispell Glacier product, who's also headed to Montana Tech. And maybe, just maybe, Ryan Tutel chiming in for his semi-often appearances here on Nuanez Now. So looking forward to all that as well. The in-state recruiting battle is always a huge, hot topic of conversation. I'm talking college football for the Bobcats and the Grizzlies. And this year it has been particularly intriguing. The specific reason why is that the in-state recruiting battle for all of the time that I've covered it, I'm going into year 20, which is crazy to say, covered the Big Sky Conference this upcoming fall. But most of the in-state recruiting battles have had a pretty similar tenor. And what I mean by that is, in the state of Montana, when you're recruiting in-state kids, you have about I'd say between an 80 and a 90% chance of that given prospect having a preconceived interest or passion in his brain. About 75% of the time, that means that kid grew up rooting on the Grizz or rooting on the Cats. And it's really hard to talk somebody that grew up their whole lives as a Grizz fan to go play for the Bobcats. And it's very hard to talk any kid that grew up his whole life rooting for the Bobcats to go play for the Grizz. That was mostly, almost exclusively true my first 15 years covering this, and I would say certainly over the last 30 to 40 years, like that's been pretty darn true. It's pretty hard to swing guys that grow up one way to going over to the other side. But then you have other circumstances like academics and what you want to go to school for, et cetera, et cetera. Those have been the swing factors as well. And the third factor, the third primary factor in the NCAA recruiting battle has always been who's winning on the field, who's winning overall, who is winning within the scope of the rivalry game. So often you can see like the best Montana recruiting classes were on the heels of when that school won against the rival the previous fall or two previous falls ago. Like usually a 3-year sample size is very important. Well, now here's the thing that happened coming into this in-state recruiting cycle. The Bobcats were just beating the Grizzlies like pretty consistently for multiple years in a row. No matter what happened. And sure, you can look at the big picture. You can say Montana State has beaten Montana 8 out of the last 10 times on the football field, and that was stamped with an exclamation point of beating them twice in 28 days this last football season. But still, the Grizz did snap a 4-game losing streak to the Bobcats, and the Grizz did have 2 enormous wins in the rivalry in 2021 and 2023. The reason I bring those up is for no other reason than they did not have the impact on the in-state recruiting battle that typically winning games like that has had. And it then it made questions of what the heck's going on at Montana rise up to the surface. And then when things were bubbling in the post-Super Brawl 2.0 ecosystem, and Montana State continues to just ride higher than high by winning the national championship. And Montana, despite an unbelievable year in which they went 13-2 and they only lost to one team in the country, but they lost to them twice, and it happened to be the team from 200 miles down the road, they were sitting there wondering, well, how do I pick up the pieces? What's going on? Even though it was by no means a shattering season where you need to pick up the pieces. It was a great year. But it is very eye-opening when your rival beats you twice in a month and wins the national championship, especially in a state where winning the rivalry matters so much. So then when Bobby Hauck walks out and quote-unquote retires but then ends up in Illinois, one of the biggest rallying cries, one of the biggest demands from the fan base for the Grizz was, we got to get back to getting the best of the best when it comes to the state of Montana. That's what Grizz fans wanted. Then Bobby Kennedy takes the job, and he goes out and goes boom, 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 boom. He gets a whole handful of the best recruits in the state of Montana. First, it was Sam Sermon from Missoula Sentinel, who's a legacy guy, got deep history at the University of Montana. Then it was Eli Casper and Quincy King, 2 studs from Missoula Big Sky. Then it was Cooper Pelk from Kalispell, Glacier standout. Those 4 were all really good recruits for the Grizz. But also, that's sort of a reversion to what I was just talking about. You got deep Grizz ties. That's the guys that you got to go get if you're the Grizz. Like 10 years ago, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35 years ago, all of the time of the modern era, which I count basically in my lifetime, the last 40 years, the dudes that were supposed to go, like Quincy King and Eli Casper, were not going to go anywhere but the Grizz. Cooper Pelk's not going to go anywhere but the Grizz. But it's the same thing for the guys in Bozeman, the guys that are some of the top recruits, that have Bobcat allegiances, et cetera, et cetera. But to get those guys was sort of a reascension for the Grizz, and then it also helped lead to Drew Malmquist from Helena Capital, who a lot of people think is the top recruit or one of the top recruits in the state, Jack Ryan from Billings West, Braden Zickman from Manhattan. All those guys are in the boat, and that was a huge lead in the in-state recruiting battle for Montana. Well, then, but the Bobcats swung back. They got Cade Lebrand, who I consider the best offensive and defensive lineman in the state of Montana. This was right on the heels of that slew of commitments to the Grizz. Then they got a couple other guys who I think are great developmental projects. Leighton Erickson from Seiko High School, who's playing his ball at Malta. And Dax Yeager from Shoto High School. Both those guys, big frame. They both look like tight ends to me, and the Cats love tight ends, and they're doing a great job of developing tight ends. So those guys gave the Cats a little ground to stand on, but then you're still thinking, okay, if you were analyzing this, the Grizz were running away with it, and then they were still winning even when the Cats got that trio of guys that were pretty good. But the Bobcats have continued to chip away at this thing, and over the weekend they got a commitment that I think helps them not draw quite even, but certainly draw a lot closer to being even. Most of the recruiting people in the state would tell you that the top 5 recruits in the state, I'd say that the top 3 recruits in the state of Montana are cut and dry. Drew Almquist from Helena Capital, who is committed to the Grizz. Steele Harris from Great Falls High, who's committed to Wisconsin. And then the commitment that the Cats got over the weekend. Canna Richmond from Three Forks High School. He plays quarterback right now for the Wolves, and he plays defense too. I'm not sure what he's going to play at the college level. I would personally see what his ceiling is as QB because I think he's a freak athlete. But I was looking at his recruiting picture on Twitter, and if you're a Bobcat coach and you're looking at this guy, he's going to be the latest of the super big, strong, and tall Montana quarterbacks that a coach says, okay, we'll work you out at QB for a little while, but then we're also going to teach you how to run down on kicks, and we're going to also put you through the special teams circuits. And then all of a sudden, it's the Garrett Graves proxy, right? Garrett Graves was a great multi-sport player, state champion wrestler who was a great quarterback at Eureka High School, Lincoln County High School up in Eureka. Led him to back-to-back state championships at the Class B level. Well, he got a chance to play quarterback for the Grizz for a little while, but they also kept working him in on special teams. And then one time he gets into a game against Eastern Washington, and he actually absolutely smokes Eastern Washington's punt returner. And guess what? He's playing defense the next week. So that was kind of it. I don't know if that's what's going to happen with Richmond. I don't know what his trajectory will be. But he's 6'4", 225 pounds. He runs really well. I mean, he's got a tight end, D-end body type. But he also, has got some moxie like a quarterback. So I think all that stuff really helps him. His max preps has him at 6'4", 225. The official roster from camps recently has him at 6'3.5", 218. I mean, I don't know. We're splicing hairs there a little bit. Let's just call it in the middle, 6'4", 220. But he's a great athlete. I mean, he had a ton of interest from Nevada, UNLV, UTEP, Washington State. He also had offers from Montana and Montana State, as well as Montana Tech, and basically the whole rest of the Frontier Conference. So again, this is a big swing and big hit for the Montana State Bobcats because now you're talking, one of the best 3 commitments in the state is committed to the Grizz, Drew Almquist. One of the best 3 is committed to the Cats and Canna Reichman. And then Steele Harris from Great Falls is committed to Wisconsin. Those are the 3. The next guys, in terms of the pecking order, I think Cooper Pelk's got to be there. He's committed to the Grizz. Quincy King has got to be there. He's committed to the Grizz. But Kate Lebrand's also got to be there out of Laurel. He's committed to the Cats. The other guys that are in the top 10, Cooper Pelk's committed to the Grizz. Walker Olson, from Billings West, I think is a top 5, if not top 10 guy. Lane Humphrey from Billings West is also in that mix. I think Gunnar Larson from Billings Central has a chance to be a really, really good recruit as well. And all those guys remain uncommitted. So the battle continues to rage on, and it's going to be really, really fun to follow. So we'll continue to keep you up to date. In terms of total numbers, it's basically 7-4 right now in terms of Montana kids that are committed, but having 11 kids committed on June 22nd is a pretty lofty number. You're going to see another string of commitments, another wave of commitments, and here's why. 2 reasons. One, all the camps, all the individual camps and team camps are all throughout the month of June and into July. So that's a lot of times where you're going to see some of maybe these. I think all these guys that are like what I'm proclaiming as a top 10, top 12 type recruits, they're already on the radars. They've already been scouted. They've already been evaluated. Most of them have already been offered. But it's that next tier. It's the guys that are like top 50 players in the state of Montana. Where if they go to a camp and they show out, all of a sudden they could get an offer. They could get a partial offer or a full offer. And a lot of times those guys commit right away. The other thing is that the Cats just had their first weekend of on-campus official visits. That's pretty smart business if you're Montana State football, because it's beautiful in Montana this time of year. It's beautiful in Bozeman this time of year. A lot of times they used to always bring guys in right after the season had been over. I always thought that was such a coin flip, right? On one hand, you're telling these guys exactly what they're getting into by bringing them to Bozeman or Missoula in January. But on the other hand, you're bringing a kid up here from Dallas, Texas. There's like at least 50% chance that kid looks at this and is just like, nah, I'm good. I'm not going someplace where it snows a foot at a time. No way. Not happening. But I do think this time of year, you're going to see a bunch because you got a bunch of people on campus, both for camps and for the official visits and all that sort of stuff. That's all to say. That is your news of the weekend. Cannon Richmond from Three Forks High School, one of the top athletes in the state of Montana. He has committed to Montana State. He posted that on his personal social medias over the weekend. Hour one of the books. Hour two coming at you. DJ Bauer from SWX Montana Television. He was on hand at the Shrine game. He just texted me that he's stuck in a meeting, so he will be with us as soon as possible. We will hear from him in hour number two. We'll also hear from Vince Paffhausen from Missoula Hellgate as well. That, plus any other news briefs that I can fill you in on, is next. Hour two coming your way. Nuanez Now, 129 ESPN Radio.
Jewelry Design Center. We want to be your jeweler for life.
Bring the whole family to the Stone of Accord for a wonderful brunch. From traditional comfort food to eclectic specials, there's something for everyone to enjoy. And it wouldn't be a proper Missoula brunch without an Irish coffee and a mimosa. The Stone of Accord, Irish fare with Montana flair. Restaurant, liquor store, and casino. At the Stone of Accord, we use the freshest ingredients to create our homemade traditional Irish classics, fresh salads, and creative specials. Come enjoy our warm, family-friendly atmosphere. The Stone of Accord, Irish fare with Montana flair. Restaurant, liquor store, and casino.
Grizzlies can fix just about anything. That's why the University of Montana is the Cybersecurity Center for the Treasure State, training the next generation to defend what matters most. We deliver graduates with skills to fill more than 1,100 open cybersecurity jobs in Montana. As the region's cybersecurity hub, we'll be prepared for tomorrow's threats, because what's made in Montana is remaking the world.
ESPN Radio for Western Montana, KKVU HD3 Stevensville, and 102.9 FM on K275BS Missoula. ESPN Missoula Sports Center.
Rudy Hess provided the exclamation point in the West to remain best for the 6th year in a row. Hello, I am Hayden Smith. At the 79th annual East-West Shrine football game in Butte on Saturday, Hess snagged an interception and returned it 48 yards for a game-sealing touchdown with 3 minutes, 19 seconds left to lift the West All-Stars to its 6th straight win in the series. The Missoula Sentinel graduates' pick 6 helped show up a 20-6 victory in the mining city and helped Hess earn MVP honors. While Hess punctuated the West defensive authority, it was a true team effort with plenty of Missoula flavor. The West All-Stars held the East scoreless in the first half, forcing 3 total turnovers and holding the East to just 163 yards of offense. Other defensive standouts for the West All-Stars included Missoula's Big Sky defensive back Blake Williams and Cormac Batt, along with Missoula Hellgate's defensive lineman Evan Pyron. Neither team scored until Big Sky's Kyle Marceau hit a 26-yard field goal late in the first half. Early in the third quarter, Big Sky Williams recovered a fumble that led to a 13-yard touchdown pass from Missoula Hellgate's Vince Paffhausen to Darby's McCoy Townsend to give the West a 10-0 advantage. Later, Paffhausen converted a key 4th and short play to keep a drive alive, setting up an impressive 48-yard field goal by Marceau in a 13-6 lead. Williams was named the West's defensive MVP, and the West's offensive MVP went to Glacier's Asher Knopik, who rushed 22 times for 99 yards.
This ESPN Missoula Sports Center is presented by Canyon River Golf Club. It's Nuanez Now on 102.9 ESPN Missoula. Watch the show statewide on SWX Montana Television.
Welcome back. Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio. You're listening to Nuanez Now. If you missed anything in the first hour of the show, you can always find it on the Nuanez Now podcast, which is available on all your various podcast hosting platforms. Please rate, review, subscribe. As always, we're coming to you through the Grizzly Disposal studio here at the Missoula Broadcasting Company. Grizzly Disposal, locally owned, veteran-owned, and the only bears that should be in your garbage. We'll have a more elongated diamond time tomorrow as we are coming to you from Jewelry Design Center, the premier diamond dealer in the Northwest United States. See what I did there? It's award-winning talk radio. It's fine. No, I'm just kidding, but we will have a full-on baseball segment giving an update on all things Paddleheads, all things Pioneer League, and all things Major League Baseball. We want to do a short diamond time because, first of all, we got to give you a chance to win some swing cards, some DBAT. They give you 75 free swings. We got 2 of them for you. All you have to do is text us 406-888-1029. That's 888-1029. Text us if you want to try out DBAT, the premier batting cages in the Garden City. We also have a great pro shop for any and all of your diamond sports, baseball bats, baseball gloves, softball bats, softball gloves, all that good stuff. You want 75 swings to DBAT? Call us. Or excuse me, just text us, 406-888-1029. You can't call us. DJ Bauer's calling us here in about 2 minutes to talk all things East-West Shrine Game. He's from SWX Montana Television. He just got out of the meeting, so he said he just needed to get to a quiet spot, which I appreciate, and then we'll have him on. But if you want DBAT cards, 406-888-1029. The brief diamond time is that the College World Series is coming down to the wire. Oklahoma and North Carolina, it's a best-of-3 series, and the championship final game is tonight. North Carolina is the slight favorite in this game. They are minus 154 on the money line. Oklahoma at plus 120. North Carolina came in as one of the national championship favorites in this tournament. They were the 5th-ranked team in the country and one of the top contenders all year long. Oklahoma was also a good team this year, but is not a seeded team, was not a huge favorite coming in. To put this in perspective, North Carolina is 54-13-1 this year. That is a full 12 wins more than Oklahoma. Oklahoma's 42-23, which is nothing to sneeze at. It's a good record. But UNC has been awesome. Yet Oklahoma took one from UNC, which sets up tonight's winner-take-all game. This starts here in just a few minutes, and this is always a great tradition this time of year. I think a lot of people watch either the U.S. Open or the College World Series or both on Father's Day. We have a good friend who goes to the College World Series every year. It's like his pilgrimage. So certainly it's a fun tradition and a fun pastime, and it should be a great one tonight. So, college baseball is a blind spot for me. Unless teams out west are in it. Certainly I've followed the great runs by Oregon State over the years. UC Irvine, Cal State Fullerton have both had some great teams as well. But I'm definitely going to watch tonight because this is for all the marbles, a winner take all, no question. Diamond Time, probably presented by D-Bat of Missoula, the premier batting cages. No matter if you're a slow pitch softball player or a fast pitch baseball player, head on down to D-Bat, 821 Burlington Avenue in Missoula, and keep those texts coming in. You want 75 free swings? We got 2 for you, 2 swing cards, so you can take a buddy or a partner or a kid or whatever. 406-888-1029. 406-888-1029. Text in for one of our most loyal listeners. I should have just called him in as a correspondent because he was at the Team USA win on Thursday in Seattle. But he said he got a shout out Norway-Senegal, which is coming up tonight too. That's a great World Cup matchup. France winning their World Cup matchup 1-0 against Iraq at halftime. So we will give you as many updates as possible on the World Cup. So Stu, thanks for the text. Appreciate it. And keep them coming. Let me know what to watch. We're going to continue, though, right now, our coverage of the East-West Shrine Game, which played out in the Mining City on Saturday. DJ Bauer, he's become a go-to guy for us whenever there is sporting events on the statewide level that descend upon the Mining City, and he was there on the coverage for SWX Montana Television over the weekend. DJ, thanks for squeezing us in, man. How's it going today?
Doing pretty all right. Thanks for having me on, Coach. I appreciate it.
Of course, always a fun deal to have an all-star game at your Naranchi Stadium in the middle of summer. It bodes well in so many different ways. Butte's so beautiful this time of year. Naranchi's so iconic any time of year. And the East-West Shrine Game is always one of my favorite events for sure. This one was a defiant slugfest from right out the gates, and it sort of stayed that way before the West picked up a 20-6 victory. So tell us just about your overall experience this week covering this game. What did you think of just the setup, the venue, the talent on the field, and sort of the tenor of the game, the way it all played out on Saturday night?
Yeah, of course. Well, I'm biased being based in Butte, but Naranchi Stadium is the best place in the state to hold the Shrine Game. The fact that it's just got that kind of bowl shape to it, everybody is right on top of it. You get to see the action. It's kind of built right next to the high school, right off Main Street and everything. I mean, it is the perfect place to watch a high school football game. And the atmosphere was fantastic. Obviously, with it being the Shrine Game, that everyone's going to come from across the state to see their kids playing it and everything at high level intensity. And as for the game itself, as you mentioned, it was kind of slow to start. I was a little worried. I was down there filming the game alongside our Helena reporter Josh Dugan, and neither of us really had many highlights at halftime because it was just kind of a lot of back and forth. There was some high snaps. There was, one pretty decent catch on the sideline that we used from Anaconda's Brody Galley. But outside of that was about it that we had for the first half. We're like, we don't really have much for our late shows. And then finally, the second half, I think teams really started to kind of get into their element, picked up the pace a bit. There was some scoring in the third quarter. And it looked like a minute there at the end of the third, early fourth, that the West was going to run away with it. Rudy Hess from Sentinel had his first of 2 interceptions. We were like, okay, so maybe the West is going to put their stamp on this thing. And then the East got right back into it immediately. Billings Central, Lane Alexander had one of the greatest hits I've ever seen in a high school game. I feel bad because he absolutely leveled Ryan Peoples, the Butte Central quarterback. Absolutely great kid. But he took a big hit on that one from Alexander, recovered the fumble as well. They were back in business with a touchdown just a couple minutes later, and it's like, all right, this is a game again. But then West was able to close it out. Cal Marceau from Big Sky kicked a 47-yard field goal, which is maybe the longest field goal I've ever seen kicked at Naranchi. That kid has a rocket for a leg. And then after that, Hess had his second interception of the day on a a pick six to seal it. We took it back to the house. I had a great shot of it. It was right on the sideline in front of me, and kind of sealed it for West to get their 6th straight victory. But yeah, I mean, it's just, it's always great to see the high school all-stars come for an event like that, and everybody's giving it their all because, it's the last high school football game that they're ever going to play. Some of those kids, it's the last football game that they're ever going to play, and you can just tell the emotion, the passion from it. At the end of the game, we interviewed some kids. We talked with Asher Konopik from Glacier. He said that it was the most fun game that he'd ever been a part of. So you just love to see that kind of energy and intensity brought to the Shrine Game every year.
I thought that was one of the most impressive parts was the intensity, the energy, and also just how clean the hitting was too. I mean, there was a lot of not just big hits, but just clean, just cut them in half type of tackles. Everybody gets up, shakes hands, is all good. But I thought that was really impressive, just especially considering a lot of these guys haven't played football in several months, right? They're knocking off the rust. Most of these guys are coming off a track season or tennis season or whatever, or maybe they haven't played anything since basketball got over. But football was multiple sports seasons in the rear view. So I thought that was a really impressive part, the way that they were able to play a pretty clean game. Did it come through like that from the sideline too? Did it seem like it was a pretty clean game operationally and tackling wise?
Yeah, for sure. Obviously these are the best players in the state. The fundamentals are there. It maybe took a little bit of time for them to get into it. Like I said, in the first half, there were a couple high snaps here and there. But outside of that, everyone was playing good football, especially in the second half. It was the splash plays that decided it, Hess with his 2 interceptions, Alexander with his big hit and fumble recovery and everything. And for not playing football for, many of these kids, a couple of them were in some of the, previous All-Star games. We had the Class B All-Star game. The Clev was in Butte a couple weeks before the Shrine. But for many of them, it was, the first time in months putting on the pads. You got 1 week to prepare for playing against the other best players in the state. That is a tough challenge, and the kids were up to it, no question.
DJ Bauer, SWX Montana Television, joining us here on Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio. He is based in Butte and was there at the 79th Annual East-West Shrine Game. The West came out with a 20-6 win, a great defensive effort. But you mentioned Cal Marceau. That kid hit a bunch of big kicks, man. I mean, he's been great for Big Sky the last couple of years. He hit the 49-yarder against Sentinel to lift Big Sky to a 12-10 win, and that was a defining win, not just because of the crosstown element, but because that helped get Big Sky one of those top seeds in the playoffs and helped him go on a nice playoff run. He's going to Rocky Mountain College to be a kicker there. There was a big kick though, right? I mean, the East did have sort of a little bit of momentum, maybe a comeback bid's coming, but then they had the nice forced turnover into then the long kick. So what'd you think of this Marceau and his ability to nail that one? You mentioned it, 46 yards to sort of not quite ice, but keep the West out in front.
Yeah, it was 10-6 at that point. It was mid-4th quarter, the West team kind of had their chance to put it away, and the drive stalled at midfield. And I was like, all right, well, I guess they're going to punt here, and next drive, if East can put something together, they can take the lead. And then all of a sudden, I see the kicking team out on the field. I'm like, wait, they're going to kick a field goal here? This is from almost midfield. And credit to Marceau. He's absolutely got an incredible leg. He booted it through, and like I said, I think it's the longest field goal I've personally ever seen kicked at Naranchi. I know a very famous kick from 2012 that won
Indeed
the championship back then in 47 yards. I think that one was, but obviously a bit before my time in Butte. Credit to Marceau. He absolutely nailed it.
Certainly the Jake Dennehy kick that won Butte High their state championship in 2012 was one that will live forever. I mean, that is one of the most famous kicks in the history of the state, let alone the history of Butte America, so certainly a great reference there. One thing that's just sort of circumstantial, I don't know if there's anything to it, but it is just sort of cool when it happens, is when you see a bunch of guys from either the same high school or the same town or both really thrive. And we mentioned Marceau, but I thought, Rudy Hess was the overall MVP of this game with 2 picks, including that pick 6 that you referenced. He's from Sentinel. Blake Williams was the defensive MVP for the West out of Big Sky. Cormac Batt also played a ton and had a good game out of Big Sky. Evan Pyron from Missoula Hellgate had a great game as well up front and playing defensive end. And then Vince Paffhausen, who's from Missoula Hellgate as well. He'll join us here coming up in about, probably about 15, 20 minutes. He also threw probably the most impressive touchdown of the game was the throw he had to the Townsend kid out of Darby. So Again, there's nothing really to it. It's just sort of circumstantial, but it is sort of fun. I thought the Missoula guys all played really well, and I'm not just saying that because we're originating this show here in Missoula, Montana, but I thought those guys all did pretty well, and certainly were keys to the West victory.
Yeah, for sure. And, even on the east side as well, a lot of the Billings kids really showed out. Howie Martin was their offensive MVP. And, of course, I mentioned Lane Alexander. Both of those guys are Central kids. The touchdown that they had to make it a one-possession game was, Billings to Billings. It was two different schools. It was Martin to Elias Bonner from Billings West. But like you said, you kind of put aside the crosstown rivalries and things like that for a thing like the Shrine Game, and you get to be teammates with these guys for the first time, and sometimes it produces some really awesome results. So, it was certainly that way for both teams.
Is there anybody else that caught your eye that you think is the thing I love about the Shrine Game is it's sort of like the last football game a lot of guys will ever play, or it's also like the first football game at a super high level that a lot of these guys will play, right? Like a lot of them are going to college, taking the next step, and they played against or with a bunch of guys that will also be played at the next level. So it's a great sort of lens into maybe who could be a standout when they get to the college level. Did you see anybody that maybe you didn't know about previously that really popped to you?
Yeah, I mean, there were, obviously we knew about some of the ones that, we're heading off to play, college ball and things like that. One of the guys that really stood out for me, I didn't know that much about him until going into Shrine Week. I believe he's going to MSU for track instead of football, but Frenchtown's Henry Griffin. We did a little feature on him before the game. We did a little mic'd up segment. We like to do that with the coaches before the Shrine beforehand. And the coach for the West from East Helena, he said that he didn't want to do it. Do we want to get a player on it instead? I was like, okay, we've never done this for a player before, and we hooked it up on Henry Griffin out of Frenchtown, and boy, was that the right move, because not only is he a great football player, but also a great personality. I had about 10 minutes of material from filming him just during the Shrine practice. From just all the funny things that were coming out of his mouth during practice. And then he backed it up during the game. He played an excellent game alongside the rest of that West defense. And, I was just impressed. Sometimes these kids have both the athletic talent and the personality that, just makes you root for them. And so that was a lot of fun to do and a lot of fun to see.
No doubt. DJ Bauer, SWX Montana Television, coming from Butte, Montana, to us here at the Grizzly Disposal Studios. Last couple of things for you. Since you are in Butte, I know you cover Montana Tech heavily as well. They've done a great job of building up that football program. Kyle Sampson certainly has got it rolling. They're expected to be very, very good next year as well, but they've made big waves and big-time inroads in the in-state recruiting battle. They have gotten, I would say they've gotten the best recruits out of the state of Montana that aren't going to the Division I level over these last handful of years with Kyle Sampson at the helm. And it seems like that's the case again. I mean, you had, I think, 15 guys in this game from the East-West Shrine Game that are headed to Butte, so a cool experience for them, too, to get to sort of play in the mining city and be going back to play there for the Diggers. So what do you think of just that element, the way that Montana Tech's been able to recruit in the state of Montana, and what did you think of some of the future Ore Diggers that maybe you got your eyes on Saturday?
Oh, 100%. I mean, Montana Tech is relentless whenever it comes to recruiting. I swear, like during recruiting season, every day on Twitter, I'm seeing a new graphic that someone has committed to Montana Tech. And Kyle Sampson and his crew were, of course, there at the game. And I was talking with him a little bit. I was joking, like, "Oh, do a little last-minute recruiting in case some guys slip through the cracks." But yeah, they are very thorough, and obviously plenty of future Ore Diggers in that game. Of course, I think the one that really stands out is Glacier's Asher Kanopik. I mean, he was a sensational running back for the Wolfpack this year, led him to the championship. He'll be going to Montana Tech, and they've got a very strong backfield tradition as of late. They've had guys, like Lander Smith and Wykees Johnson that have just dominated guys on the ground in the ground and pound game. So be really interested to see in a couple years how he does for Montana Tech, knowing what he was able to accomplish in his high school career.
Was there any talk this week about, because the Shrine Game used to be – middle of July, and then they moved it up. I think they moved it up for a variety of reasons. But, was there any talk this week about, because the Shrine Game used to be middle of July, and then they moved it up, I think they moved it up for a variety of reasons. But was there any talk this week about, because the Shrine Game used to be middle of July, and then they moved it up, I think they moved it up for a variety of reasons. July is so busy for everybody in the state of Montana. I also think, though, so many of these guys are going to college, and college seasons start so much earlier now. I mean, so many of these teams are starting fall camps in late July because they're playing week 0 games. So was there any talk about that? Just the fact that it was earlier, any impressions from the athletes, if they liked that or not, or if the coaches liked that or not?
I didn't really get the chance to ask any of them about that. But I do think that you make a really good point there, that it's probably for the better for these kids, since so many of them are going to be going to play at the next level. And as you said, it seems like the college football season starts earlier and earlier every year. We got camps, starting in July now, which, that wasn't the case before. It'd always be an August kind of thing before the season starts, late August and early September. And now all of a sudden we got, playing week 0 games or whatever in early August. So you got to get the new kids on the same page correctly. So didn't get the chance to really ask them about that, but I would imagine that the sentiment is kind of aligns with that, with just how shifted up the timeline is for college sports now, that moving it up to June is a good thing for the kids.
Well, I definitely think it's a good thing, and then it lets a couple of these guys maybe get at least a couple weeks of summer. Like we had Rudy Hess in here earlier today, talking about his MVP honors, and he's going to Montana Western. But like he said, he reports in mid-July, so now he gets a couple weeks to go up to the lake, have some 4th of July, and then get back to the grind. So I do sort of like the switch in timing for sure. DJ Bauer, SWX Montana Television, joining us here on Nuanez Now. Last thing for you, a big week coming up this week as well. I know the Dream Big Camp is coming up there in Butte. Colt Anderson's huge event that he does every year. It's a great fundraiser. They donate to a whole bunch of great causes. He usually has a whole bunch of star-studded appearances that help out with the camps and help out with all the various events. So I know you've been around this before. What do you think of just this coming back to Butte? And what are some of your favorite memories from the Dream Big Camp? You're probably looking forward to it here again this week.
Yeah, no question. Camp season, because in addition to Dream Big, tomorrow down in Dillon, Troy Anderson's going to have his youth camp as well. Of course, he's a MSU legend and second-round NFL draft pick, so we'll have a presence there for SWX as well. But yeah, I'll be at Colt's camp on Friday, and I mean, what a great role model for all the kids. I mean, Colt Anderson, maybe not 10 better people who walk the earth than Colt Anderson. Such a nice guy, and does this every year for the kids. And what's fun is that his position that he has in the NFL, since he's been able to make such a good career out of it, is he brings along all of these stars that he's met along the way. I mean, high-profile guys have been at this camp.
For sure.
We're talking, Ryan Jensen, Lorenzo Alexander, of course, Dylan Cook, Montana legend, now getting playing time for the Steelers. He's been at the past couple camps. It's great to see all these different, people that you would never expect. Like, what are you doing in Butte, Montana? And they're doing it because they're friends with Colts, and they've got the same good hearts as he does, and they love to help the kids. So gonna really look forward to seeing Colton and all of his buddies there again, and all the kids, of course, having fun at the camp on Friday.
DJ, great stuff, man. We appreciate you as always. Thanks so much. Look forward to seeing you down the road here. But in the meantime, have a great time this week. Have a great summer, and we appreciate it as always. Thanks for chiming in.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me on, Coulter.
DJ Bauer, SWX Montana Television. He's nails, man. He's always great on the radio. It's so funny. Sometimes scheduling the show is a little bit of a challenge. Just especially Mondays, because you're coming off the weekend and you're trying to roll in and whatever. Not complaining. Love it. Love doing what I do. But anytime there's an event in Butte, and I know DJ covered it, I just hit him up and I'm like, man, who's better to tell us what went down in Butte than you, right? Like he's a keen observer, and he's great at breaking it all down, and I always love having him on. So I appreciate DJ. It's been a fun connection for me, and certainly fun to help promote his good stuff, which appears on SWX Montana Television, which is what we broadcast on here as well. Take a break, come back. I thought one of the best throws of the whole evening in Butte, Montana on Saturday came from Vince Paffhausen. He did a little bit more than just one throw, and he had a great career at Missoula Hellgate. We'll talk about that with him next. Keep it right here, 102.9 ESPN Radio.
Is a Will You Marry Me in your future? Or maybe you do it all over again. Hi, I'm Brian Toon with Jewelry Design Center, inviting you to come see the largest selection of Will You Marry Me in the state of Montana. The brightest diamonds of every shape and size, unique settings built to last, and skilled jewelers on site offering free sizing and maintenance for life, because that's how long we want to be your jeweler. Jewelry Design Center in Missoula, on Brooks, across from the Montana Club.
ESPN Missoula Sports Center.
Rudy Hess provided the exclamation point in the West remain best for the 6th year in a row. Hello, I am Hayden Smith. At the 79th annual East-West Shrine football game in Butte on Saturday, Hess snagged an interception and returned it 48 yards for a game-sealing touchdown with 3 minutes, 19 seconds left to lift the West All-Stars to its 6th straight win in the series. The Missoula Sentinel graduates' pick 6 helped sew up a 20-6 victory in the mining city and helped Hess earn MVP honors. While Hess punctuated the West defensive authority, it was a true team effort with plenty of Missoula flavor. The West All-Stars held the East scoreless in the first half, forcing 3 total turnovers and holding the East to just 163 yards of offense. Other defensive standouts for the West All-Stars included Missoula's Big Sky defensive back Blake Williams and Cormac Batt, along with Missoula Hellgate's defensive lineman Evan Pyron. Neither team scored until Big Sky's Kyle Marceau hit a 26-yard field goal late in the first half. Early in the third quarter, Big Sky Williams recovered a fumble that led to a 13-yard touchdown pass from Missoula Hellgate's Vince Paffhausen to Darby's McCoy Townsend to give the West a 10-0 advantage. Later, Paffhausen converted a key 4th and short play to keep a drive alive, setting up an impressive 48-yard field goal by Marceau in a 13-6 lead. Williams was named the West's defensive MVP, and the West's offensive MVP went to Glacier's Asher Kanopik, who rushed 22 times for 99 yards.
This ESPN Missoula Sports Center is presented by Canyon River Golf Club. This is Nuanez Now on 102.9 ESPN Radio Missoula.
No runs through one at the College World Series final. Always a great sort of peak of summer moment, right? Yesterday was the solstice, which is always one of my favorite and most sad days of the year because it means now, after yesterday, the days are getting shorter, but it'll still be light deep into the night. So love that when that happens. Nuanez Now 102.9 ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, and the ESPN MT app. Colter Nuanez coming to you through the Grizzly Disposal studio. Grizzly Disposal has one bin recycling. They can pick it up for you at your house twice a month. You want to add the service or make the switch, call 406-541-7171. That's 406-541-7171, or visit grizzlydisposal.com. Grizzly Disposal, the only bears that should be in your garbage. Our continued coverage of the East-West Shrine game after the West solidified a 20-6 victory. That's 6 wins in a row for the West. And not only has the West dominated, but the city of Missoula had a great afternoon, evening in the mining city, including our next guest, Vince Paffhausen. He's a recent graduate of Missoula Hellgate, and he was one of the 2 quarterbacks for the West squad. Threw a sweet touchdown right before halftime to help keep the West ahead, and did a good job guiding the offense to make sure the West kept their winning streak going. Vince, I know you're on. I know you're out of town, so we appreciate you making some time here on the phone. How's it going, man? Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. I'm doing good. How are you?
Good, man. First of all, take us through your week last week. It's always an interesting time getting to meet all the other best football players in the state and, grinding it out, trying to figure out a way to come together in a short amount of time, but always then one of the great events of the summer when you get to actually play in the Shrine Game. So take us through your week. What sort of things will you remember, and what did you think of just sort of the challenges, but also the rewards of coming together with some of the other best football players in the state?
It was awesome. Definitely the most football I've ever played in a week. I really enjoyed getting to know the team more, and I actually roomed up with a future Montana Tech teammate, Bridger Alexander. So getting to learn him and what Florence was like in Class B, that was really, really cool to see the difference. And then one big thing that I think that all of us will take away was after practice, our third practice today, we'd always do pool aerobics together in the Best Western pool. And so I think that's one thing that I'll always remember is just Asher Kanopic leading us in pool aerobics and usually going to McDonald's right after.
Gotta love it. Well, the pool aerobics obviously worked, kept you guys loose, and Kanopic had an outstanding game. He was the offensive MVP for the West squad, rushed for almost 100 yards. He'll join us here on the show live on Wednesday, so looking forward to that as well.
Oh, yeah.
But what'd you think of just his ability to sort of help spearhead your guys' offense? I know it was a little bit of a defensive slugfest in terms of the style of the game, but it seemed like every time you handed the ball off to him, it was productive. So what'd you think of his just contributions to what you guys did offensively?
Playing him in the season, I knew he was a dude for sure. He ran people over and he ran Hellgate over pretty good. So I knew coming into it kind of what to expect, but watching him up close and personal and actually being the one to hand him the ball, it was awesome. He is a complete animal. He's an awesome human. This was my first time getting to meet him, and I'm excited to play at Tech with him, and he's just a great guy overall, and it was really fun to watch him play.
Vince Paffhouse, recent graduate of Missoula Hellgate, joining us here on Nuanez Now, part of our Senior Spotlight Series. It's probably presented in part by McElmurray Homes. McElmurray Homes, the elite custom home builder in western Montana, and also proud to support high school athletics across the Treasure State. You mentioned Bridger Alexander, one of your future Montana Tech teammates. Asher Kanopic, one of your future Montana Tech teammates. I think there was 15 guys in this game, all told, that are going to Tech. So take us through that part. Just meeting some of your future teammates, getting a chance to know those guys. It must have you pretty excited for the recruiting class that you're a part of.
Oh, yeah, it was awesome. I didn't know many since the only other one in Missoula is Bodie Templeton. I also didn't even know him either. So it was pretty awesome to get to meet all those kids and gain an early relationship going into fall camp. I just really enjoyed it. They're all great people, all really dedicated to the game, and it was awesome to finally get an early game with them. So I'm excited to get to work.
Well, there's a big drought of Butte right now, and Kyle Sampson's done a great job of building that thing up and making Tech a place that Montana recruits want to go. So take us through your sort of process. What were some of the things that led you to Tech? What are some of the things that impressed you about the Orediggers football program?
My whole family kind of is from Butte. My dad played at Butte High. His three brothers played there. My grandpa played there. Cousins played at Butte High. So Butte's always been big city for me. My grandma lives there. So I've always loved Butte. And then the big thing was I loved the school. I loved the campus, hands-on work there. And definitely Coach Sampson and his whole staff did a great job recruiting me. I felt really welcomed. I felt like they actually really cared for me. And Butte America's an awesome place. It's tough to beat.
No doubt. So your dad Josh then?
My dad is Todd.
Oh, Todd. Okay. Yeah. Because there's been tons of Paffhousens that have come through there and then had ties to Missoula as well. And I was figuring you were related to some of the Paffhousens in Butte. So,
Yep. Josh is my uncle.
Okay. Very good. Yeah. So the family legacies in Butte are as deep as anywhere in the state for sure. Back to this weekend, though. Just getting a chance to play with all the guys that are the highest level players in the state of Montana. What did you think of that honor, and what was it like just operating with such a high level of talent at your disposal, especially as a quarterback?
It was awesome. Just playing with the speed of the game at practice. It was eye opening from that first day. Learning a new offense was tough, and the defense usually picks it up a lot quicker than us, so they kind of kicked our butts all week, and it showed on Saturday how good they were. But just the speed of the game was crazy. Like, there was people just flying around. Hank Hagenboth from Dillon, he is an absolute freak. Like, it was just eye-opening, and it was really fun to just, like, sit back and just watch it all unfold in front of me.
Well, you had a sweet touchdown throw, and it had been hardly any scoring at all, but you threaded the needle to capitalize on a turnover. You hit a kid from Darby who gets a chance to be a Class C kid that gets a little time in the spotlight as well, which is a cool moment for him too. But just take me through that play, that throw, and how were you able to thread the needle and get it to Townsend for the touchdown?
Yeah, I mean, that play was interesting. The play before got hit pretty hard, rang my bell pretty good. So I was kind of huffing for my breath, and Coach called a nice little fake screen play, screen and go, and we were running it all day in practice and like all week, and it was working. And McCoy's a speedster, and I told him, he's like, when he gets the ball in his hands, he's dangerous. So saw that safety was one high, and he kind of bit with the outside, and there was a tight window, and just knew I had to put it on a line to him, and he made a great catch, took a hit, and was able to get 6 for the West.
Vince Baffhouse and Missoula Hellgate joining us here on Nuanez Now. It's our Senior Spotlight, probably presented in part by Dazzler's Car Wash. Dazzler's Car Wash, the most thorough and efficient car wash in the Garden City. Treat your car like it deserves to be treated all summer long at Dazzler's. So what do you take from this experience, Nick? I always think the Shrine Games is this great event, not only just because it's so entertaining and we're always so starved for football by the time June rolls around, but it's also sort of like the end of your high school career, and for a lot of guys, the end of their football careers, and then for others, the last game of high school, but also sort of like the first game of college as well. So what did you think of just playing in your last high school football game, and then how that sort of vaults you into your next chapter?
It was pretty crazy. I mean, taking the pads off with my last name was pretty awesome. I think one of the things I took away was playing my last game with Evan Pyron. I mean, he's been my best friend. We've been playing football together since 3rd grade, and it was pretty sweet. I mean, we shared a moment after the game, and, I mean, it's just been a great ride for that. And then also looking at it, how much money we raised for those kids in the Shriners Hospital was awesome. It just felt like we were doing something bigger than the game, and something that I know that I'll remember for a lifetime.
Well, that's probably the most important part of this, right? Is this great entertainment? It's a great sort of anniversary of the end, all these things we just said. But at the end of the day, this raises money for the Shriners Children's Hospital in Spokane. And this is the 79th annual one of these in Montana, and I believe it's been one of, if not the highest fundraising Shrine Games anywhere in the country for years and years and years. So it is sort of cool to give back to a good cause. So did you guys sort of take that to heart, and what did you think of just that part of the experience?
Yeah, I mean, we all, like, whether it was like a presentation or actually meeting Peyton, who was the ambassador, it was awesome. And he was always around, like, playing with us, throwing the football. He was in the parade with us. So it was like really, like, awesome to see. And, like, yeah, football was really cool, and we had so much fun doing it. But we were, at the end of the day, we were all doing it for him and everyone in that Shriners Hospital, and we just wanted to do as much as we can to get as much money for them.
Well, that's what it's all about, and certainly great perspective from you. Last thing for you then, now you do turn the page, and like you said, you're going back to a place you're very familiar with, a place you have deep roots in Butte, and going to play for a great program in Montana Tech. So what's the rest of the summer look like for you? How do you sort of get yourself mentally and physically prepared to turn the page and become a college football player?
I mean, yeah, just start lifting. I mean, we started today already. We got the lifts from Tech, so I just do them here in Missoula, still at Hellgate. Kind of just lift, get bigger, put some weight on, get faster, and also enjoy my last summer here in Missoula. Go fishing a lot, hang out with family and friends. So yeah, I'm excited to just get bigger and enjoy myself.
Well, sounds like a great summer to me. We appreciate you for taking some time, man. Thanks so much, and best of luck with everything. We'll certainly be following along, but thanks so much for hanging out with us here for a few minutes today.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Vince Baffhausen, Missoula Hellgate grad, and one of the standouts for the West All-Stars at the East-West Shrine Game. Great interview. I'm so interested to see, we talked about this for a million times, but problem's the wrong word. The challenge that Hellgate football has had, they have several challenges, but the main challenge has been They just don't have the numbers to be able to compete with the best of the best in AA. But that doesn't mean they don't have great players. They just don't have enough great players. That's the problem, right? If you go to a Hellgate Billings West game, for example, West has literally 50 to 70 more guys dressed out in a game than Hellgate does. That then just naturally means that you're just going to have. It's not the headliner players that Hellgate's had the trouble cultivating. It's that after the third, fourth, fifth best guy on Hellgate's roster, then the drop off is pretty steep. And whereas like Billings West, probably if you start at Billings West right now, or you start at Kalispell Glacier right now, or even if you start, last year you started at Missoula Big Sky, you were a borderline, if not almost certain, college level player, like an NAIA level player at least, if not future Grizz or Cat. At Hellgate, they have several college caliber guys, and then no one else that's college caliber. That's been the challenge at Hellgate. I am so interested, though, to see how the trio of guys that were the best players at Hellgate go do at the next level. Vince Paffhausen, who just joined us, he's going to Montana Tech. I think he has a chance to be a really good player there. I mean, he took his lumps as the quarterback for Hellgate the last couple years, but he also had some great moments. Evan Pyron, who's going to the Grizz, Parker Link, who's going to the Grizz. Both those guys, I think, have high ceilings. I think Pyron has one of the highest ceilings of any of the recruits from last year's class in the state of Montana. I saw him at the peak the other day at the gym. I mean, the dude is a horse. He is going to be a monster. He's only a high school graduate, just graduated a couple weeks ago. He is already a mountain of a dude. And I think Link has crazy upside because he was doing everything for the Knights. He was going 10 million different ways. He's doing everything from playing offense to defense to being the wildcat guy to then also, he's the punter. I mean, he's like hardly ever coming off the field. But he's got great athleticism. He runs a sub-11 second 100, so I think he's got some great upside as well. But I also think that, first of all, those guys deserve credit for staying at Hellgate. In Missoula and a lot of places in Montana, it's a little muddy. It's a little blurry where the lines might be in terms of where you need to go to school or where you're in, what district you're in. So you can easily just say, well, Hellgate and Sentinel are a mile apart. I live closer to Sentinel. I'm just going to go over there. Those guys didn't do that. So even though they took their lumps in high school and didn't win a ton of games, I think they're going to be better for it. And then I also wonder, where do you take this thing? When you are one of those guys who's been blood, sweat, and tears trying to get Hellgate over the top, and then you get to go to a program like Montana Tech or Montana that has a winning culture, a winning tradition, I just think you have a chance to then really accelerate your skills because it's just going to be so much more of a pleasant experience for you winning games. Nuanez Now 102.9 ESPN Radio. Come back and give you some details on what's going on at the College World Series and anything else we can get to. That's next. Keep it right here. ESPN MT.
Les Schwab changed the tire game more than 70 years ago. Today, we still believe you should get more from less. Like more hustle, less hassle. More of the best service around, less of the runaround. Because we include America's best tire warranty in every tire we sell. So you get more unbeatable warranty, less charging you extra. It's why we're more than proud to say, you get more from less.
Jewelry Design Center. We want to be your jeweler for life.
ESPN Radio.
Welcome back. 129 ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, and the ESPN MT app. Colter Nuanez coming to you through the Grizzly Disposal Studio. Grizzly Disposal, the only Bears that should be in your garbage. We'll be coming to you live from Jewelry Design Center tomorrow between 4 and 6. I'll be down there about 3 p.m. You have a chance to win tickets to the biggest show of the summer, Post Malone and Jelly Roll, coming to Missoula on July 21st. If you want a chance to win tickets to that show, just come on down. If you like to hang out, you can. We'll have some refreshments, some drinks, and you can check out now, I'm telling you, this is not exaggeration. This is not just because they're my friends and great supporters of this show. Jewelry Design Center is like no other jewelry store you have ever been to in Montana. It is unbelievable. The artisanship, the creativity, the craftsmanship, but also the customer service, it's all second to none. So if you'd like to come hang out down at Jewelry Design all afternoon long, you're certainly welcome. If you just want to swing in, check out some of the diamonds, check out some of the watches, put your name in the box and get out of there, that's also just fine. Just come on down, though. Chance to win tickets that are quite expensive if you're going to buy them on the open market, so might as well win them from us instead. So come hang out with me between 4 and 6 p.m. tomorrow at Jewelry Design Center. Jewelry Design Center, proud to sponsor our Post Malone ticket giveaway and proud to be your jeweler for life. If you missed anything in the show today, a ton of coverage on the East-West Shrine Game, the 79th annual All-Star football game in the state of Montana. The West, a 20-6 win. We heard from Rudy Hess, who was the MVP of the game out of Missoula Sentinel. We heard from Vince Paffhausen, who was a star quarterback for the Hellgate Knights, who threw a nice touchdown in the game. We also heard from DJ Bauer, SWX Montana Television, giving all his thoughts. That plus an update on the in-state recruiting battle, an update on the U.S. Open. Wyndham Clark takes his second U.S. Open title home. Brooks Nuanez swung by to talk about that. You can find all of it on the Nuanez Now podcast. Available on all your various podcast hosting platforms. Please rate, review, subscribe. Tomorrow for the show, got a couple fun things planned. We'll have our updated Diamond Time, talking all things Major League Baseball, plus some paddleheads. We'll have plenty of paddleheads tickets for you as well. We're also giving tickets away to the upcoming MMA fight that's coming up, MMA fights, I should say. Absolute Fight Factory coming to the Big Sky Brewing Company on July 11th. So we'll have MMA tickets for you, baseball tickets for you. Also going to play an excerpt of a recent interview with Dave Dickinson. Yes, that Dave Dickinson, the legend of the fall, the why they consider the greatest player in Big Sky Conference and Grizz football history. That is an excerpt from the Cussin' and Discussin' podcast. We'll make sure we don't have any of the cussing in there, don't you worry. It's a family-friendly show. But that's coming up about 5 o'clock tomorrow on the show. If you can't make it down, Jewelry Design Center, but you're just listening along, we'll also have our latest Treasure State Stars. Also want to do a Grizz football schedule review. We've talked sort of intermittently about the schedule and some of the key games, but I want to break down each game, not in depth, but how it can impact the arc of the Grizz season. And then I want to set it over-under for the Grizz football team so we can then ruminate on that throughout July, report on that a little bit as well. I'm also catching up with all 5 of the guys that are Grizz football players that are hosting an upcoming youth camp. Ian Finch, Tanner Huff, Brooks Davis, Kaylee Iaya, and Peyton Wing. They're all hosting a camp on July 17th at Washington Grizzly Stadium. So those guys, I've been corresponding with them, and I'll have interviews with all 5 of them sometime in the next 3 weeks. But probably we'll have 1 or 2 of those done tomorrow, so we'll play one of those for you as well. So come see us at 2501 Brook Street across from the Montana Club at the Jewelry Design Center for your chance to win Post Malone and Jelly Roll tickets. We'll see you then at 4 p.m. This has been Nuanez Now, ESPN Radio.